Hello, Misfits. This is Kevin.
And this is Kate.
Welcome to Horrorwood. Beep, 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 beep. What up? How's it going?
Well, we just talked for
We
a
did
good
talk for a
20
while,
minutes
right?
about how it's going.
We don't have a new Patronian.
I
I
think
saw in
so.
the email, Luke signed
Oh.
back up again.
Luke re-signed. Luke from No Longer Downstairs. What's up?
No longer downstairs.
They might be coming to visit.
Yay.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
That's nice.
If the rumors are true.
If the rumors are true.
Yeah. I miss
Love.
those guys.
Yeah, they were nice. They are nice. I shouldn't say.
Yeah, they were nice.
They were nice. Oh my God. I meant to tell you, AMC has started to do these like Monday screenings of horror movies.
I don't think I get AMC.
No, the movie theater.
Oh, I thought you meant like
Like
AMC,
the
channel.
No,
Because that is
no.
a channel, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
AMC's the theater, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I was second guessing. I can't remember what exactly they call it, but you buy a ticket, go in and see the movie. You don't know what it's going to be.
Oh, interesting.
And usually it's a movie that's about to come out.
Ooh, okay.
So it's like not fully released yet, but you can go just randomly see a movie. I kind of want to do
That's
it.
kind of fun.
I
yeah.
know, because there's a new Faces of Death movie. Have you heard of this?
I don't think so.
So I
Yeah.
covered Faces of Death.
Yeah.
It's a different story, but it's like built upon the idea of what the original movie was.
Okay.
And so I don't think it's just clips of death. I think
Right.
there's a story to it and some kind of monster or killer or something.
Okay.
But it has Barbie Ferreira. Is that how you say her name? She's from Euphoria.
Oh, okay.
And Charlie XCX is in it.
Oh.
Hey.
Hey.
365 party girl. I was on TikTok and
Of course you were.
always. But that was the movie I think they saw on the AMC day. for the
Oh,
movie, yeah.
okay. Yeah, I guess I have to find a new theater since Alamo's changed everything.
I did not like that experience the last time I went.
Hated it.
Yeah.
Hated it. For those who don't know, that Alamo's like my favorite movie theater
Yeah.
here because it was kind of old school. Like you just had like this retro vibe, and the employees would come around to your seat to take your order, and you could like order throughout the movie by pushing a little button, and it was so cute and so fun.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Now
Nope.
it's all on your phone.
Yep.
The menu is terrible and tiny, and you have to go through so many different screens to go to each section of the menu, which is super annoying. And it means that everybody has their phone out during the movie when they're trying to order something, and it's dark. So, like, it's a mess. It's a mess. I will say, I think they'll lose money by that ordering system because I feel like, at least me personally, I was less inclined to order throughout the movie because I didn't feel like digging my phone out of my
Yeah.
purse, scrolling through all that because I didn't want to miss the movie by having my head buried in my phone. And I also didn't want to be the asshole.
Taking your phone out and just having it on.
Yeah.
It's so distracting.
So annoying. And that whole thing about them was like no phones, like no late
Right.
seating, blah, blah, blah. No, that's all gone. And so I would have ordered more throughout the movie, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to their sales over time.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder how many staff they got rid of.
Oh
because
yeah,
of
I
that.
mean I think that's all part of it. It's all about cutting costs. They're trying to like have a bigger profit, but I hated it. And they got a lot of backlash online.
Good.
But I don't know that they're going to make any changes. I mean, it sold to Sony. That's why.
Oh, that's what happened?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So it's just becoming like every other run-of-the-mill movie theater,
Yeah, no.
but in like a worse way.
in a bad way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's super annoying. Yeah, I didn't really like it either. I mean, I loved the experience of sitting down. You have a waitress or a
Yeah,
waiter,
I loved it.
good interactions, good food, but now it's just
And they don't do the last call anymore. So
no.
before, 40 minutes before the end of the movie, they would come through and like a little employee
We're
would duck
fine.
down and like run through the aisles with a sign. I didn't find that distracting. And in fact, I liked that because it made me realize, okay, like if it's a bad movie, I'm like, all right, well, there's only 40 minutes left. Or, okay, maybe I should use the bathroom because we still have a ways to go. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
There's none of that anymore. It's just, I hate it.
The downfall started with the removal of the
Hatch chili green.
chilies.
Yes. That sauce, that queso, Hatch green chili queso, that was the best thing they had.
Yes.
And they got rid of that. And I was like, what do you think you're doing?
Something awful. Alamo.
Get
do
it together.
better.
Get it together. All right. Well,
All
that's
right,
probably
let's
enough.
probably get into the let's get into the story. It is April.
Yes, it is.
And so we are halfway
To
Halloween.
Ooh.
Ooh, scary. So yeah, we're halfway to Halloween and we're going to get into a cryptid.
A cryptid. It's been a minute since we've done a cryptid.
It's been a minute. I think my last one was Jersey Devil.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, I love the Jersey Devil. All right, so Kate, today we are getting into the Wendigo.
The Wendigo.
Wendigo. Are you familiar?
I don't think so. What's a Wendigo?
Well, I'm going to tell you all about it.
I sure hope so.
There's two elements to the Wendigo. There is the actual legend
okay.
and then the cryptid monster.
Okay.
Some say same thing. I say different.
All right.
And so does the literature.
Oh, okay. And all the research.
And all the research, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Wendigo. Not the movie version, because there are a ton of movies about the Wendigo.
Okay.
Movies, TV shows, books, novellas, song. Well, I don't know if there's a song, but there should
Okay.
be.
All right. There probably is.
There probably is. We're going to talk about the Wendigo and not the movie version, which is like this antlered monster that you've sort of seen online, but the original idea, where it comes from, and what it actually meant to the people who originated these stories.
Okay.
The Wendigo originates in the belief systems of Algonquian-speaking indigenous peoples across North America, mostly Canada.
Okay.
Hey, Canadian cryptids. Sup. We're talking about communities spread throughout the Great Lakes regions, parts of Canada, and into the northeastern United States.
Okay.
That includes indigenous tribes like the Ojibwe, the Cree, the Saulteaux, the Naskapi, the Innu, and related groups like the Algonquin, Odawa, and Potawatomi. I think I said all this right.
All right.
Tell me if I did. If not, don't. These cultures are often grouped together under the broader identity of Algonquian.
Question.
Yeah.
Is Algonquian different from Algonquin?
Yes. Algonquian is like a broader scope that all of these tribes fall under.
Okay.
Yeah, because I looked at that too. I was like, well, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not.
Got it. I don't think I've ever heard the term Algonquian.
I haven't either.
Interesting.
Until today. Well, until I started doing this
We're
research.
all learning.
We're all learning new things. In this time with these tribes and in these areas, this was the landscape of long winters, deep forests, and periods where food could become very scarce.
Sure.
Survival, not guaranteed. It depended on sharing and on staying connected to your community. That's how you survive.
So sharing and caring.
Sharing and caring. I love that.
As we all should.
Yes, we all should. There was a strong spiritual framework that guided how people understood the world around them. We've talked a little bit about that in other cryptid stories because I feel like a lot of these cryptid legends are derived from indigenous tribes.
Okay.
In Algonquian belief, everything has a spirit. People, animals, the land itself. These forces were often referred to as Manitou,
Okay.
which could be helpful, harmful, or anywhere in between. There was also a creator presence, often called Kichi Manitou, understood as kind of like the great spirit.
It's essentially all religions.
Yes. So the Wendigo exists within this spiritual system.
Got it.
It's often described as a Manitou itself, but absolutely not a benevolent one. It is a monster.
Okay.
I also always confuse the meaning of benevolent because benevolent in my mind sounds bad and harsh.
I've heard you say it on here before when I know you mean malevolent.
Malevolent and benevolent.
And you're like, he was benevolent. And I'm like, sounds like he was pretty good.
I said that. I have an education. I'm sorry.
I just let it go.
He was benevolent.
That asshole.
Well, I've corrected myself now because I finally was like, that's not right. Malevolent.
People know what you mean.
The Wendigos linked to winter, hunger, and isolation.
Ooh, hate all of that.
Its name has roots in Algonquian languages with variations across Cree and Ojibwe dialects.
Mm-hmm.
Some interpretations say it means winter cannibal.
Ugh.
Or a spirit that devours human beings.
Well, that's awful.
Linguists have even traced it back to an older reconstructed term that may connect to the idea of an owl.
Huh.
I know. When I read that, I was like, an owl. It originates from the Proto-Algonquian word. I tried to find how to pronounce this, and I couldn't, so I'm going to try.
Sure.
We-neko-wa.
Sounds great.
Okay. Potentially meaning owl.
Oh, okay.
I could have just said the owl. So the earliest written references to something like the Wendigo come from European observers in the 1600s, particularly Jesuit missionaries.
Okay.
Documenting what they were told by indigenous communities. But the stories themselves go back much further, carried through oral tradition.
Like religions.
Yeah. And in those traditions, the Wendigo is a representation of a transformation.
Oh, okay.
So in many versions of the belief, the Wendigo starts off as a human being, but then that person becomes overwhelmed by hunger or greed or a breakdown in their relationship with others. Sometimes that shift is also linked to cannibalism during the extreme winter conditions.
Yikes.
I don't
like it.
I don't either. Other times it's a spiritual influence, like being visited in a dream or cursed.
Like the 3 ghosts of Christmas.
Yes. One of them was a Wendigo. Which one was it?
Past, present, or future? It's definitely future.
Yeah. That monster.
That bitch.
Cryptid. There's also the idea that prolonged contact with the spirit itself can lead to change in the person. So once that transformation starts, it don't stop.
Oh.
The person becomes consumed by a need that can't be satisfied.
Okay.
They may still think, still speak, still function in some ways, but their priorities are completely different.
It's like when I need coffee.
Ah, yes. That's
Or a
Wendigo.
chocolate chip cookie.
Kate wakes up a Wendigo, and then she has her
I'm like,
coffee
where's
and
my
cookies.
Lacalo mocha?
Nah. Mocha. I was still thinking about that the other
Well,
day.
I was thinking about it too, and I was like, was that, could I? I took it out.
That's fair. So the focus becomes consumption, not just food, people. Community bonds are erased and empathy fades. Everyone's like, that bitch is trying to eat me. Fuck off.
I think we should have a shirt that says, I'm 100% that cryptid.
Yes.
All right, we'll work on that.
TM. So that's the heart of the Wendigo concept. It's this spirit that overtakes people.
Okay.
In these cold areas.
Yeah. Burr.
Wendigo. It's interesting because it's not just about cannibalism. It's an imbalance. Like, you'll look at the monstery cryptid side of this and everyone's like, it hates people. But then I think the native indigenous tribes at this time are like, this person is being transformed into something else.
But in a negative way.
In a negative way. Okay. Exactly. It's a person who's like stepping outside of the values of the group.
Sure.
And in that sense, it's kind of this moral boundary of like, you need your community to survive. And once you step outside of it, anything can go wrong.
I see.
There were social responses that were also tied to these beliefs. In some communities, if someone was thought to be in the early stages of the transformation, efforts were made to help them.
Okay.
That could include feeding them rich foods.
All right.
Yum. I'm a Wendigo.
That tastes like people to satisfy that craving?
Well, and I think I have this later in my notes, but they would like have them drink grease.
Ew.
Yeah.
Like what kind of grease?
Like animal fats.
Okay. I don't know why that's better, but in my mind, I'm thinking like...
Oh, no.
I mean, I guess there weren't cars back then.
They ran over to the highway.
But still, yeah, drinking grease.
Ooh.
Of any kind.
I think about when you pour grease, when I've accidentally poured grease in the sink.
Ooh.
And I undid the pipes and it was just
Yikes.
like a hard...
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to drink grease. Don't do it.
Unless you're turning into a Wendigo.
Exactly.
In that instance.
And that could help. So they'd eat the rich foods and they'd work with spiritual leaders in the tribes to like figure this out.
Get their shit together.
But if that didn't work and the person became a danger, more extreme actions were sometimes taken to protect the group, including...
Let's see what they are.
Murder.
Oh, that took a turn.
Yeah. Murder, excommunication, like get out of here, go away.
Wait, they would murder the person turning into the Wendigo?
Yeah.
I see.
And I'll get into documented cases of that.
Oh, fuck.
Because there's a couple that are really strange.
Okay.
There were ceremonial practices that were also connected to the Wendigo. Among some groups, a ritual performance would take place during times of famine. It involved masks and movement and a kind of exaggerated behavior that was meant to reinforce the taboo of becoming a Wendigo. It reminded people of what not to become.
Don't become an evil spirit.
Blah, 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 with a mask. And they're like, no, don't be this.
Okay.
So what does the Wendigo look like? And I think that depends on who you ask. But there are some consistent details that seem to show up again and again. And when I say what does the Wendigo look like, it's like, what is the spirit? The Wendigo spirit takes over people, but the spirit itself is also like its own thing.
Okay.
That people have claimed to see. Damn.
Was that my insides?
I think so.
I think you're right.
Sorry, that just came through like really clear on my headphones.
And I didn't even hear it, but I felt it.
I heard it. That's all right.
It's my water going down.
Ooh, digest it. No, but people have seen like the spirit of the Wendigo. I also feel like when people get possessed, they sort of start to exhibit changes in features and stuff. The Wendigo is usually described as tall, sometimes far larger than an actual human being.
Okay.
In some stories, it grows every time it eats.
Oh, okay.
Which is how that works.
Yeah.
Which means it can never be satisfied. It becomes bigger, but also more starved at the same time.
Oh.
So you get this image of something that is both massive and also kind of weirdly gaunt and scary looking.
Ugh.
Its body is often described as gaunt, which I just said, like skin pulled tight over bone.
That just sounds gnarly.
Ugh. Its eyes are set deep in its face.
Sure.
Its lips are torn or missing.
Ew.
Sometimes said to have been eaten away.
What's eating the Wendigo?
It's hunger, its own hunger.
Whoa.
Chomping off them lips. Its skin can look gray or pale or decayed.
Decayed.
There's often a smell that comes with it too. Something like rot. Something you notice before you kind of ever see it. Stinky.
Like death?
Death. Some traditions describe a heart of ice inside of it. Other details vary. Sometimes it's said to have claws, long teeth, or a
Ugh.
stretched mouth.
Gross.
Sometimes it moves quickly through snow and ice. Sometimes it's slow, like it's breaking apart as it walks. In some stories, it can mimic a human voice, calling out to people and drawing them away from safety. I will say that I did run into more cryptid stuff about skinwalkers, which are different from the Wendigo.
Okay.
I won't go into it, but we will maybe eventually.
Okay.
I want to see Bone Tomahawk. Have you seen that movie?
I have seen that movie.
I keep seeing it on like lists of movies to check out. So yeah, that's the physical part of the Wendigo.
Okay.
But then in many of the other traditions, it's the spirit,
Okay.
not necessarily like a being per se.
Gotcha.
Movies and all I've said before latch on to the physical aspects of it because that's what you can kind of sink your teeth into, if you will.
And I will.
We will. When a Wendigo enters the body of a human, the transformation is both physical and psychological. The person becomes withdrawn, paranoid, and they might start to believe they need to eat a human being, even when food is available to them.
Okay.
They'll just be like, I don't want that.
I want a person.
Give me that leg.
Where's Fred? He's delicious.
At the same time, they may fear becoming what they're turning into. I feel like you know when you're becoming a Wendigo.
I would think you would notice some changes.
I just wake up and I have like a severed foot and I'm like, damn.
Damn, did I eat that?
I guess I'm a Wendigo. And then my lips just disappear. Okay, so this idea became known in Western terms as Wendigo psychosis, though that label has been debated and questioned over time.
Okay.
What matters more is how it was understood within the cultures themselves. It's not just an illness or like a possession, it's an imbalance. And so a loss of connection to the community, to the land, and to the values that are keeping people alive. So yeah, withdrawing, they'll stop eating normally, they'll be very anxious and restless, sleep is affected, and then they might begin to believe that they were turning into a Wendigo. And at the same time, they develop the growing urge to chomp on them bones.
Ugh.
And that creates a lot of fear.
One would think.
To that person and also to the larger community.
Yeah.
Because within these belief systems, once that transformation reached a certain point, the person is no longer in control. It's the Wendigo.
They just be out there eating people.
This idea shows up in some of the earliest written accounts from European observers. Remember I mentioned the Jesuits? In the 1600s, missionaries documenting life in what is now Canada recorded stories about people who developed what they described as an overwhelming hunger for eating people. And they tried to compare it to illnesses that they understood at the time, which, spoiler, wasn't many.
Sure.
In the 1600s. But they couldn't find a match. It didn't really line up with anything that they knew. And from the perspective of the indigenous communities themselves, it's not just an illness, it's spiritual. The outsiders were coming in and they're like, ugh, what the hell? We don't know what this is. It must be demons, scary god stuff. If someone showed signs of being a Wendigo, they did try to help them. In Cree traditions, people believe, this is the rich animal fat, or having them drink grease. I already said that. There were accounts as well that the person would vomit ice.
Well, if their heart's all icy, they're just vomiting their heart out, I guess.
Vomiting their heart out, right? Which was seen as a sign that the Wendigo influence was leaving the body.
Oh, okay.
So if you're puking out ice,
you're in good
shape. You're looking up.
Hey.
Things are looking up.
About to turn around for you.
If the person became violent or began to act on their urges, they could be killed by members of their own community.
Yikes.
That response sounds pretty extreme, but within the cultural framework at the time, that was what they deemed necessary. We got to cut out the poison.
I see.
All right, so let's talk about some cases of Wendigo psychosis.
Okay.
Get ready with me to sit down and talk about Wendigo psychosis. I don't know why I started talking like that.
Got weird.
All right. Swift Runner was a Cree man living in what is now Alberta, Canada, in the late 1800s.
Okay.
He wasn't some outsider, unknown figure. He was an integral part of his community. He had a family. At one point, he even worked as a guide connected to the Northwest Mounted Police.
Oh, okay.
And had ties to the Hudson's Bay Company. Then came the winter of 1878 into 79.
Feel like this is not going to go well.
No, not at all.
Okay.
He went out into the wilderness with his wife, his children, and extended family members, which was a normal seasonal pattern for hunting and trapping. Winters in that region are brutal and food could be scarce. Isolation was a part of their life.
Sure.
So they needed to head out into the wilderness and get food and get ready for it. When spring came, only Swift Runner returned.
Uh-oh. He left with a whole bunch of people. Where are they at?
He told authorities that his family had died of starvation and that he was the only one who survived.
By eating them.
At first, that explanation might have made sense. Winters like that could wipe out entire groups. But something wasn't sitting right.
Yeah. Feels off.
It feels a little off. He didn't look like someone who had been starving. He appeared well-fed, and then that raised suspicion, and investigators went out to his camp to see what had actually happened. Everything okay?
My microphone was moving back and forth. Did you
Mine
see
was
that?
too.
Did we just have an earthquake or something?
Was it a little like, yeah, it's shaking.
It's doing it. That's weird. I've got to sage this room.
Yeah, Kate. We're talking about evil spirits, and our microphones just start shaking.
That was weird.
I know.
Like the whole arm was like boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom.
Mine was over here shaking back and forth.
Okay.
Kate, I'm hungry.
Stop.
No,
Stop. Don't even play.
I'm sorry. All right, so the people are like, no, that's not true, Swift Runner. And so they're like, we're going to go check your camp out.
Yeah.
Because this is crazy. What they found told a
no.
completely different story.
Oh, no.
There were human remains scattered around the site.
Ugh.
Bones had been broken open.
Oh.
There were signs that bodies had been cut and cooked.
I
In
am
one
ill.
Yeah. In one place, there was even a container holding human fat. This wasn't a case of people dying and one person barely surviving. This was
one person surviving on all of those people.
All of those people. Swift Runner eventually confessed. He's like, yeah, I ate him.
Oops.
He admitted that he had killed and eaten his wife and children.
Oh my God.
And one detail really stood out. He killed his youngest child after the winter had already started to ease.
Whoa.
When food sources were becoming available again. So, not survival. He killed everybody.
Wow.
When he explained why, he said he had been taken over by a Wendigo spirit. See, this is also the thing about this. There's got to be some kind of mental illness as well. You know what I mean when it's not spiritual?
I mean, I just wonder if there's a word for like when you believe something just because it's been told to you over and over.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden you think like it's happening to you.
Right.
There's a word for that, but I can't think of what it is.
I know what you mean. And then it's kind of like, it almost becomes sort of an excuse in a way.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I was a Wendigo spirit.
I don't, okay.
Swift Runner is tried at Fort Saskatchewan. He's convicted and he's executed in 1879. And it became one of the earliest recorded legal executions in that region.
Oh, wow.
So over time, his case became one of the main examples used when people talk about what would later become known as Wendigo psychosis.
Sure.
Another figure often connected with that idea is Jack Fiddler. So we start in what is now northern Ontario in the Sandy Lake region in the early to mid 1800s.
Okay.
This is a very isolated area, but it's made up of several clans, suckers or sookers.
Okay.
Pelicans, cranes, caribou, and sturgeons. Life there, not easy. Winter's harsh. Food could run out easily. People depended on each other. And within that environment, the Wendigo wasn't abstract. It's something that people take very seriously. Jack Fiddler was born sometime between 1830 and 1840.
Okay.
His birth name was Jawuno Gizigo Gabao. Said that wrong, I know. Which translates to he who stands against the southern sky. I like that. He was the son of a respected leader and shaman named Porcupine Standing Sideways. I like that.
I do like that.
So from a young age, Jack was raised in his isolated region, learning the responsibilities that came with his father's role. So he was going to take over as like a leader and shaman for the group.
Okay.
He also had contact with the outside world. When his father traveled to trading posts, Jack would go with him. It was during those interactions that he was given the name Jack Fiddler, reportedly because he learned how to make and play fiddles.
Oh, okay.
After his father's death in 1891, Jack took over as leader and shaman of the Sucker clan. And by all accounts, he was very respected in that role, very revered, well revered. People believed he had the ability to heal, to receive guidance through dreams, and to interact with forces in the natural world.
Okay.
But There was one responsibility that defined him more than anything else.
Do tell.
Dealing with Wendigos.
Mm.
Within his community, this wasn't about hunting monsters. It meant recognizing when someone was believed to be at risk of becoming one, or already in that process. And once that threshold was crossed, the belief was that the person could become a danger to everyone around them, we know. Jack Fiddler claimed to have killed 14 Wendigos.
So 14 people.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Over the course of his life. Sometimes these were individuals who were already showing signs of transformation. Other times they were people who were ill or near death, and the fear was that they could become possessed by a Wendigo.
Wow.
Right?
So you just get sick, and some dude is like,
Wendigo, pow.
An evil demon spirit might enter your body, so I better just end you now.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So in those cases, families would sometimes ask him to act.
Oh, God.
And from his perspective, it wasn't violence for violence's sake. It was protection for that family. And there are also accounts describing how he carried out these actions. So in one case, after he killed a Wendigo by strangulation,
oh my God,
he placed stakes in the ground and dragged the body across the stakes.
Oh.
In another, he burned the remains after burial to ensure the spirit could not return. These steps were seen as necessary because that's how you got rid of the spirit.
Oh, wow.
There are also stories about Jack preventing transformations before they fully happened. In one account, a man was believed to be on the verge of becoming a Wendigo. People heard sounds coming from his body, like pressure building inside of him.
Maybe he just had gas.
They're like, what's that sound? And he's like,
I mean,
and they're like, Wendigo.
Death.
Death.
Damn.
They called for Jack, who arrived quickly. He made noise, sang, and physically restrained the man. At one point, ice was said to come from the man's mouth as he struggled, which...
But that's supposed to be...
Wendigo coming out,
yeah,
right?
you're doing good.
Jack warned him that if he continued, he would be killed.
Oh, my God.
And after that, the man did not transform. I call a little bullshit here.
This is...
He's like, listen, if this continues, you're going to die. And the guy's like, I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay. I don't even know what I have to say here.
I mean, this just goes to this feels like a total bogus thing. Anyway.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So for about 15 years after 1891, Jack led his people through difficult conditions, but outside his community, things were changing. In 1906, word reached the Royal Northwest Mounted Police about what was happening in the Sandy Lake region. Reports described a group of people who were killing others when they became ill or delirious. To the authorities, this is not protection. This is murder.
Correct.
Yeah. In June 1907, offers arrived at the Klan's camp.
Officers?
What'd I say?
Offers.
Oh, yeah.
I could see both being accurate, so I
You're
wasn't
right.
sure.
You're right. In June 1907, officers arrived at the Klan's camp, and at first they were welcomed, but that changed quickly when it became clear why they were there. They had come to arrest Jack Fiddler and his brother Joseph.
What was Joseph doing?
Joseph was helping Jack.
Okay.
So one of the key incidents involved the death of a woman in 1905. She was Joseph's daughter.
Stop.
Yeah. According to the family, she was at risk of becoming a Wendigo, and they acted to stop it.
Maybe she was just becoming a teenager.
Right.
I mean, I know some teenagers.
To the police, that explanation didn't matter. Jack initially resisted. He argued that what happened within his community had nothing to do with Canadian law.
You're murdering people. I'm pretty sure that's against the law.
Yeah. He even said he could call on others to defend him, but in the end, he agreed to go peacefully to avoid putting his people at risk.
Okay.
He, his brother Joseph, and 2 witnesses were taken to Norway House in Manitoba. The journey took days. Once there, a preliminary hearing made it clear just how deep the disconnect was. On one side, officials like Commissioner Abo and Perry saw a man responsible for multiple deaths.
Mm-hmm.
On the other, Jack explained that he didn't know the laws he was being judged under. He asked for leniency, not out of guilt, but because he believed he had been acting within his role in the community.
Hang on, Jack Fiddler. First, you said that what you were doing had nothing to do with the law. And now you're like, oh, wait, I didn't know the law. You can't have both.
Right, exactly. So this case drew attention. Some people saw him as a criminal. Others were like, no, he was doing good. And they were arguing that his actions were rooted in care for his community and not cruelty.
It's possible that he truly did believe that.
Oh, 100%.
It would not be correct,
No.
but it's possible that he did think he was actually helping people.
Well, and I think the community thought so too, because he was the shaman.
If they're the ones summoning him to do these acts, then I think everyone was drinking the Kool-Aid.
Totally. Without any lips. So by this point, Jack's nearly 70 years old, and he had spent most of his life in one system of belief, and now he's being judged by another.
Sure.
Then came September 30th, 1907.
What happened then?
That morning, Jack, his brother, and the others were at a riverbank near Norway House preparing for the day. They were under supervision of Constable Arthur Wilkins. At some point, Wilkins turned his attention elsewhere. Jack saw an opportunity. He just walked away. It took about 10 minutes before anyone noticed.
So this man wasn't being restrained or anything
No,
after
no.
murdering all these people?
Just being watched by a constable until trial or whatever was supposed to happen. But a search began, and hours later, he was found about half a mile away.
Okay.
He had taken his own life.
I had a feeling that might be how that ended.
Mm-hmm. He used his sash, tying it to a tree.
Oh, God.
And when they found him, his body was still, his arms at his sides.
Mm.
He had chosen his own ending. His body was brought back and placed in a coffin with salt to preserve it.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
I haven't either. I guess it makes sense. Like,
I mean,
cured meats.
I guess. Yeah. Ugh.
Ugh. After his death, his brother Joseph remained in custody.
Okay.
And on October 7th, 1907, Joseph's trial began. Witnesses were questioned in detail about the 1905 death. They were asked about the woman's condition and what happened and whether they understood Canadian law. Joseph was found guilty and sentenced to death.
Oh, wow.
But his sentence was later reduced to life in prison.
Okay.
And he died in January 1908, actually a few months later, from illness before any further charges could take effect.
So here's what's interesting to me. So if he's ill, does he then think he's turning into a Wendigo?
Oh, maybe.
If that's the belief.
Right.
Or is he like, oh, I'm just getting sick? You know what I mean?
That's an interesting thought, yeah.
And with the other guy, Jack, it also makes me wonder what in their culture, how was suicide looked upon in that culture?
That I'm not sure about. So after all of this, that's when Western researchers are like, whoa, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And so psychologists, anthropologists, and missionaries began using the term Wendigo psychosis.
Okay.
So that's when it starts to really blow up.
Yeah.
It was labeled as a culture-bound syndrome, meaning it was believed to occur only within specific cultural contexts.
Mm-hmm.
Symptoms were described in a fairly consistent way, which we've talked about already, but I'll reiterate here. A fear of becoming a cannibal, a belief that one was turning into a Wendigo, a compulsive desire to eat human flesh, depression or distress, and in some cases, violent behavior. But here's where things start to split. By the mid to late 20th century, scholars began to question whether this was actually a distinct condition at all.
Mm.
Some argued that there were enough documented accounts to support its existence, pointing to eyewitness reports and historical records from indigenous communities. Others pushed back. They suggested that what was being labeled as Wendigo psychosis might have been misunderstood cases of other mental health conditions. Or that accusations of someone becoming a Wendigo could have been influenced by social tension, fear, or conflict within a group of people.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's also the argument that Western observers may have taken stories too literally, interpreting them as clinical cases instead of understanding them within that cultural context. So today, mainstream psychiatry does not recognize Wendigo psychosis.
Okay.
Just
Color me shocked.
Just if you were wondering, you know. But at the same time, that concept still hasn't disappeared. The Wendigo represents more than hunger. It's what happens when a person becomes consumed by need, greed, isolation. It's about excess. It's about taking more than you should. It's about losing empathy. It was used to teach, to reinforce the importance of sharing, of staying connected, and of not letting desperation turn into something worse.
It's just that culture is religion.
Totally. Well, and also something that you can't necessarily explain.
Yeah.
So you're looking for something to explain it.
And then you create stories. And then you pass those stories down.
And thus is the birth of the Wendigo.
The Wendigo.
The Wendigo. Some indigenous scholars and thinkers have described the Wendigo as a way to talk about larger forces, not just individuals, but systems. Things like exploitation, colonialism, environmental destruction. That's the same kind of hunger, just on a different scale.
Mm-hmm.
And then we already talked about Swift Runner and Jack, and those are the ones that get cited the most, but they're not the only ones. So let's go back for a second to those early written records from the Jesuits, because they matter more than people realize. In the 1600s, French missionaries were documenting what they were being told by indigenous communities in what was then called New France.
Okay.
New France. These reports were later compiled into what we know as the Jesuit relations. So one account describes a group of men who had been sent out on a journey during winter. When news came back, it wasn't about getting lost or freezing. It was something far stranger. They were said to have developed an uncontrollable hunger for
people.
Not just desperation, but something that affected their thinking. They turned on others around them. They attacked people they knew. The more they consumed, the more intense the hunger became. It wasn't simple starvation.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, something took hold of that person's mind. And according to the report, the only way to stop it was to kill those affected before more harm could be done.
Wow.
Now, fast forward a couple hundred years, and you start to see similar patterns show up again. In the late 1800s and the early 1900s, there were repeated mentions of people believed to be in the early stages of becoming a Wendigo. These weren't always written down in detail, but they're referenced in records from traders, missionaries, and local authorities.
Okay.
There are also accounts where traders documented interactions with Cree and other groups who spoke openly about Wendigo cases.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't trying to hide this from anyone.
Right.
They were like, no, it's Wendigos. There were also traditional stories that were passed down long before anything was written down. One example comes from an early 20th century collection by an ethnographer named Lottie Chickaqua Marsden. And in the story, a Wendigo captures a boy but doesn't eat him right away. Instead, it keeps him alive, waiting for him to gain weight.
Ooh.
The creature checks on him repeatedly, even cutting his hand to see if he's ready to be eaten.
How does cutting your hand determine whether or not you're ready to be eaten?
I don't know.
Like the more, maybe
the more blood that comes out?
I don't know.
Ugh.
I feel like the hand is like not the place to test for plumpness.
Maybe it's like a 10, like plumpness.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Go for the belly or the thigh. Or the booty.
Right.
The hand, it's all bony. Get your priorities in order.
God, come on. The people of the village confront the Wendigo and attack it, cutting off parts of its body. But even after being injured, the creature continues to feed on itself.
Eating those lips.
Yep. While consuming the marrow from its own bones.
Ew.
Which is interesting because in Swift Runner's story, they found all those bones snapped in half.
Yeah.
So he was like sucking the marrow out of the bones.
That's interesting.
Oof. Another thread that runs through these accounts is the belief that once someone crosses a certain line, you can't come back from it. In some traditions, killing a Wendigo could release the human spirit trapped inside. In others, death is the only end.
Okay.
So around the late 1800s and early 1900s, when all of this is kicking off, some Algonquian communities attributed unexplained vanishes to Wendigo activity. Vanishings, not vanishes.
Okay.
Sorry. These weren't always investigated in the way that we'd expect today, but the pattern of people going missing in remote areas fed into the belief that there was something in those woods. At the same time, there were also claims of sightings. Some came from indigenous communities. Others came from settlers who had moved into those regions. In northern Minnesota and parts of Ontario, there were repeated reports of something seen in the woods, often followed by death or disappearance.
Oh.
One location that gets mentioned is near Kenora, Ontario, which some people have referenced to as a kind of center for these sightings.
Okay.
There are also references to places like Lake Wendigo in Minnesota. Now jump ahead to the early 20th century. In 1910, British writer Algernon Blackwood publishes his horror novella, The Wendigo. This is a big turning point for this story because this is where the story really enters Western literature in a massive way.
The demon's going mainstream.
Yeah,
He's like, I made it.
I'm here. Blackwood's version is set in the Canadian wilderness and focuses on a group of outsiders encountering something unknown. The emphasis shifts away from community values and toward fear of the landscape itself. And the Wendigo becomes something that's tied to the wild and preying on the people who step into the wilderness.
Okay.
It's a very different lens, but from there, the changes keep coming and building. By the time you get to like 1933 and 1941, writers like August Derleth are creating stories that totally shift the Wendigo. These versions lean into like cosmic horror and like a supernatural threat. And again, the focus is on the creature and not the cultural meaning behind the creature.
Yeah.
Now that it's being mainstream, it's like, okay, we're going to focus on like the physical part of this, you know, this monster spirit that lives in the woods who takes over people and makes them cannibals. And then you move later into the 20th century fiction. In 1983, Stephen King includes a Wendigo-like force in Pet Sematary.
Oh, maybe I've told you this, but I remember when I was like 7 years old, 5 or 7, my mom was in the den watching TV and I walked in. I was like, oh, what's this? She said, Pet Sematary. Why don't you watch it? And my mother and I sat and watched the OG Pet Sematary. And I've never forgotten that experience. And I don't think that she would remember that happening now. But she used to be like super into horror movies. And I just remember specific bits and pieces of that movie that like I still have those images in my mind.
It's a disturbing movie.
Very.
Yeah.
My mom was into it.
I mean, it's good. I like that one. I like the idea of like the Wendigo spirit because when they go into the woods and you sort of hear that weird noise, oof, creepy. So yeah, it becomes a part of a broader horror framework. And at this point, the Wendigo is now like a horror element.
Yeah.
And it moves into visual media. In 1999, Ravenous presents a version tied to cannibalism and power in the movie Ravenous. In 2001, the movie Wendigo connects it to psychological trauma. And then in 2006, The Last Winter links it to environmental disruption. So everybody's kind of taken the idea of the Wendigo and kind of blasting it out into different ways.
Sure.
By 2021, in the movie Antlers, which is a good movie, I will say check out Antlers.
Yeah, I feel like you've told me about it. I think Matt saw it.
The Wendigo is portrayed in that movie as something that moves through people and is tied to suffering and economic struggle, which is interesting. I really liked Antlers. Across all of these, you'll notice a pattern. There's often a single indigenous character who explains the legend. But the story itself centers on non-indigenous characters dealing with the aftermath.
Okay.
That's kind of how the westernized version of these tales start going. You know? There's like the one indigenous person who's like, let me tell you the legend of the Wendigo. It becomes that sort of catalyst. But the original cultural context is background information instead of the core of the story. And visually, the creature keeps changing, you know, what it looks like. Modern depictions often show it with antlers, glowing eyes, or a form that looks more like a hybrid animal. But scholars like Brady DeSanti have pointed out that these features are not part of the traditional descriptions. In many indigenous accounts, the Wendigo is more human-like, even if it grows larger over time. Like we talked about what it looked like back then.
Yeah.
It's more human-like than what these accounts are. But that difference matters because once you remove the human origin, you remove the central idea of the Wendigo. So alongside all of this, there's another track happening. Indigenous scholars and writers are continuing to use the Wendigo in a very different way. In 1978, Jack D. Forbes publishes Columbus and Other Cannibals.
Oh, okay then.
Okay. In that work, he uses the Wendigo as a metaphor for exploitation and domination. Then you have Winona LaDuke, who uses the term Wendigo economics to describe the way corporations exploit the environment.
Interesting.
Again, the focus is on behavior, not a monster. But in literature, Louise Erdrich explores the concept of the roundhouse, using it to examine harm and justice within a community. So while popular media is moving in one direction, indigenous voices are continuing to use the Wendigo in a way that stays connected to its original meaning. On one side, you have a creature that's been reshaped over time, starting with those accounts in the 1600s, moving through literature in 1910, and then evolving through film and television into what we presently call a cryptid. And when you line up the names, the dates, and the places, you can actually see that divergence happen. From the forests of Ontario and Minnesota, to the missionary records, to British fiction, to American horror, it's the same idea, but just being told in completely different ways. And that is the Wendigo.
Every aspect of it.
Yeah.
All the variations of it.
Yes.
All the people eating, eyes maybe glowing, antlers or no antlers version of it.
Right.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Wendigo.
Have any of you encountered a Wendigo? Are you turning into a Wendigo as we speak?
Yeah.
If so, you should leave those comments on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify at
Horrorwood Podcast.
Or you can send us an email at
horrorwoodpodcast@gmail.com.
And if any of those things are true, you've either seen a Wendigo or you're turning into one, you should probably write it in a story so we can read it on our Misfit Tales. You can send it to that same email address or become a subscriber on
Apple, YouTube, Patreon.
Woo woo cryptids.
Cryptid.
I'm 100% that cryptid.
That cryptid.